Today, we are talking about the missing note in the major scale. When I listen to like classical music, and I also did a lot of classical music when I was growing up, the major scale, like those cats knew what was up. Like if you listen to those big symphonies, like they harmonically, they yeah. It was weird to me the fact that I had learned classical music and I learned a major scale like this. I learned a major scale like that, but when I got to varsity and I was doing jazz harmony, I learned that apparently there's a passing step between 5 and 6, and they call it a bebop major scale. And it's not just bebop major scale. It's not just so that you can land on the downbeats of the chord tones of a chord, but it's also a harmonic device in there, because a major scale, it has diminished passing steps. So that's what I just wanted to talk to you today, or reveal to you if you didn't know, that the major scale actually has a missing note. So I'm in the key of B flat here, just because I don't know, I just picked this key. No, it's always kind of like that. If you haven't watched my last two lessons, we basically were talking about how to implement the diminished chord over a minor chord as well as a dominant chord. But now I'm going to talk about major chords, and specifically we're going to be talking about the major scale, because if you didn't know, chords come from scales. That to me was so mind-boggling, and I know it's mind-boggling to some people, where it's like chords actually come from scales. That's so crazy. Like the way things have been taught, I don't know, it's almost like chords just happen, but they don't just happen. Scales, without scales, what would we be? Now, another thing that we need to talk about between me and you is that a major scale, major chord should actually be a major 6th chord, okay, not a major 7th chord. And I'll explain to you why. So first I'm going to play a major 6th chord. Here's the major 6th chord. Let's play it like this, close position style. Okay. It should be like this, okay? And again, I'll explain to you just a little later. Just bear with me, give me 2 minutes. Okay. Remember last time in the lesson we were talking about minor chords and how to move them up the scale like this. So this was for G minor, right? This would be for G minor. But as theory tells you, that a minor is relative to a major scale. Minor scales come from major scales. So if, for instance, I was playing G minor 7, that's actually coming from B flat major. It's coming from, and if I play B flat major 6, it's actually literally the same thing as G minor 7. How interesting is that? So the same diminished movement that I had for G minor is literally going to work for B flat major 6, because it's the same thing. Now the reason I'm saying that a B flat major 7 chord like this should actually be a major 6 chord is because the 7th is a diminished chord. It's actually a diminished chord. That's why there's so much tension between 1 and 7, is because this is a cadential point. It wants to do. It doesn't just want to go. It should be. Do you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. So that is the missing note. So now that you know, we've got, this is a diminished note. This is the major scale. This is a diminished note, major scale, diminished note, major scale, diminished note, major scale, diminished note, major scale. and you just kind of need to get around the idea that a major scale can be played from any point, so it doesn't always start on the tonic. It can start on here, it can also start on the 5 or the 6 or the 1. So now we go up the scale like this. There's that to the 6, 7 to chord 1. So now you know when you play a major 7th chord, it's actually a diminished note. Okay, and I remember one of my colleagues, a classical person, she was telling me that when they analyze, I think they were doing Baroque music or something, or maybe something later than that, that when they analyze a 7th in a major chord 1, they analyze it as a note, a suspension. They analyze it as a suspension, where in the next section perhaps they're waiting for that resolution, so that they wouldn't mark it as B flat major 7. They would say, I don't know, B flat with some sort of suspension. I'm not too sure how they would notate that, but theoretically that's how they would analyze it. And for me as a jazz person, I'd be like, no, that's just a major 7th chord. That is all that I actually have for you today. Is that missing note in the major scale. Da da di da da di da. Now, I'm actually thinking of a song. The B section of Softly as in the Morning Sunrise. The B section of Softly as in the Morning Sunrise. So Softly as in the Morning Sunrise goes. To the original chord 1, because Softly as in the Morning Sunrise, and you should check it out if you haven't, it's written in the minor perspective, C minor, but the relative of that is, so then the B section goes 2, 5 to the 1, so it goes da 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 da, and so forth. Yeah, so that's an example of how you could use it. Of course, these things take a lot of practice and dedication. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, that's all for today, and let me know what other kinds of videos you want me to do. What kind of tutorial would you like to see? Would you like to see like more hip stuff? Like, you know, how to build a neo-soul chord, or how to improvise over neo-soul progression, like more soulful R&B vibes. I know some people are into that. So yeah, but this is more of an educational approach that I am taking, and my channel is basically about that. But I'm definitely open to doing something that might be more useful for you on a practical level. So yeah, I'll see you again in the next video. Like, if you have not yet subscribed, why have you not? Can we just have this thing? Why have you not? Okay, do it. But anyway, obviously you're not forced to. Anyway, bye.